It's my brother's birthday tomorrow, and I'm baking a cake. Let me walk you through the process. I post a lot about food. Let me show you how everything goes. I'm going to bake a cheesecake, and I'm going to use the recipe of one Australian food blogger, Donna Hay. You can look her up. I think it's donnahay.com. I like many of her recipes. They're simple, they're easy to make, they're good, they're in English. But I'm going to adapt it. I'm going to use the recipe which is titled lemon ricotta cheesecake. My brother doesn't like lemon, so instead I'm going to make it a chocolate Oreo, or just an Oreo cheesecake. We're not going to add lemon zest or lemon juice. So let's do it. We need 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm using whole grain wheat flour, so we need 150 grams. Keep all my flour in. Well, that's going to be fine. We need 55 grams of castor sugar, but I don't use sugar, I use a sweetener, erythrol, so we need about 10 grams to make it 50 grams of sugar. Yeah, that's going to be, that is exactly 10, and we need butter. So I added 100 grams of butter, cubed, and I like to add a dash of salt into it. So all we need to do is we need to mix that together, and that's gonna make our crust. In most cheesecake recipes, you're supposed to use gingerbread cookies, but I don't like to use cookies since they're so sweet, and you're basically just eating a lot of sugar, and you need a lot of cookies for the cheesecake crust, so I like to make my own crust. I believe this is 22 centimeters. So what I like to do is I like to do this. If you can use wet hands, it's going to be even better. It's just easier to shape once it's powdered. So we need to put our dough in here. That's what we have. So according to the recipe, you're not supposed to cool it down. Usually a dough like this is supposed to cool down for about 30 minutes in the fridge, but the recipe says we can just start warming it. So I'm going to have a very thin layer of the crust. If you use a smaller tin, like 18 centimeters, you probably will have a thicker layer of crust. That's what we got. I'm just gonna do this real quick, and we're going to send it to the oven. We need 500 grams of ricotta cheese. I'm going to add all of it here. We need 330 grams of cream cheese. Actually, it was 550, but that's fine. 330 grams of cream cheese. Lemon juice, I'm going to add 60 grams of heavy cream, since I don't intend to make it a lemon cheesecake, so I'm just going to add 60 grams, and actually a little bit more because that's what I have. Okay, and we need to add 300 grams of sugar, which this number is terrifying, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to add a sweetener, erythrol, which is equivalent to 300 grams of sugar. Basically, you need 60 grams of sweetener of this kind. That will make 300 grams of sugar. That will make it as sweet as if you put 60 grams of sugar. So, not 60, sorry, 300. But I'm going to add 60 grams of sweetener. That still is a lot. Usually I never add more than 40, and that's just a crazy number. Probably I should stop here. I think it's gonna be too sweet anyway. You know, I figured that 300 grams of sugar is just a lot, and I realized this is an Australian recipe, and all American and Australian recipes, they put a crazy amount of sugar in desserts. I'm I'm not used to that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add sour cream. I have Farmer's sour cream, just to make it less sweet. I'm going to add 100 grams of sour cream. Yeah, 100 grams is going to be fine. So that it's less sweet. But this sour cream is about 40% fat, so it's going to give us a very nice texture. It will have the right consistency. That's the consistency you want to get. You see it's silky smooth. According to the recipe, we also need 1 tablespoon. I don't have any more tablespoons. We need 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. So I have cornstarch here. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 1 tablespoon of water. The recipe says, I've never done this actually before. I would just add cornstarch right into the mixture, but the recipe says mix this with water first. Well, we'll give it a try, why not? And then add it to the mixture. I'm going to add it right here. And we're going to beat that. I'm going to start adding eggs. We need 5 eggs according to the recipe, but honestly, I'm looking at this, I think 4 eggs will do it. And I'm going to beat them one by one. It's pretty liquid, so I think I definitely do not need to add the 5th egg. That's more than enough. And that's it. We're done with the filling. Our crust is ready. I was baking it for 15 minutes. The recipe says 30-35, but you see, you have to adapt every recipe. This is more than enough. Now comes the fun part. We're going to crush Oreo cookies. And if you simply crush them and add them to our cream cheese filling, they're just going to look, they're all going to look like a gray mess. But what we want to do instead, we want to make sure that we have beautiful Oreo pieces, chocolate Oreo pieces, in a filling, inside the cheesecake, right? So here's what I like to do. I'm just going to crush them. And then I'm going to sift them. You can actually do it right here, you know, you can crush the cookie here, and then I should have done it actually. I don't know why I didn't. Should have done that. So you can make them as little as you want. You can, my mom is helping me with filming. With cookies here as well. Yeah, some of them can be quite large. Some pieces. Yeah. So you decide. It's your call, really. My carrot kid is also trying to help me bake. I'm in good company. So once you have this, what you want to do is you want to sift the Oreo cookies. And this is what you don't want to add to your cheesecake, because then it's all going to be of that color pretty much. And I'm going to add this to our filling. I still have a lot of tiny pieces that I don't want. Very gently with a rubber spatula, you just want to mix that. There we go. And now we're going to add it to our, on top of our crust. You want to scrape your bowl. Put it to the oven. I'm putting it on top of my baking stone, and you want to set your temperature low. And you want to bake it for about 1 hour and 20 minutes. So. Well, I got it out of the oven. That's what it looks like. Now I'm going to let it cool overnight in the fridge, and we're going to look at it tomorrow. This is my helping hand in the kitchen. She comments on everything I do, right? Do you want to say hello? Say hello. Matilda, do you want to say hello? Say it again.
What do you want to say? Sorry, I didn't hear you quite exactly. What did you mean to say? Oh. And what did you really want to say then? What is it that you wanted to tell us? Come on, don't be shy.
Do you have anything to say? Orange mouth. She's been eating carrots all day.
Here is the final result. This is what it looks like. The cheesecake was in the fridge all night. What I did is I put some whipped cream on top since the cheesecake surface cracked a little bit, so I covered it with whipped cream, no sugar. It's not sweet. And then I crumbled some Oreo cookies on top and decorated the cheesecake with Oreo cookies as well. And I'm going to put it back to the fridge. And